really don't do keynotes that much, so bear with me. I'm more of a panel person. But first thing I want to do, I want to give CJNY a big round of applause, man. You know, when I got asked to do this keynote, KJ, who's the director of ISRA, which is the Institute for Juvenile Justice Reform and Alternatives, but we do advocacy too, though. She was like, you should write your speech. Write it down, jot down some notes. And I'm like, writing, So I figured, the best speech to give is a speech from the heart. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fly off the cuff here. So we've been talking about the system, right? We've been talking about the school-to-prison pipeline. We know that the situation is really messed up. We know that, these pro-incarceration bigots is going after our young people, going after our men, going after our children while they're still in the wombs of their mothers. We know all of these things, right? And we've been talking about this, and we've been strategizing around it, but there's some other things that I want to talk about that we don't really get to talk about. I want to talk about the love that's in this room, the love that you have to have for one another to do this work. Because if you don't do this work from love, then you're going to always be defeated. Because no matter what you do, they're going to try their best to get at you. They're going to try their best to tear you down. That's what they do. And make no mistake, it's not that people in power don't know what's going on, because they do. This is set up by design. It's meant to keep us oppressed. It's meant to keep us down. It's meant to keep us divided and arguing and bickering and killing each other. It's no disguise about how crack gets in the ghetto, right? It's no disguise about how guns gets in the ghetto, right? Because, we don't own no planes, and we definitely don't own no gun-making factories, do we, right? Because we barely own our own homes, right? So, what they do is to keep us divided, right? And why we try our best to keep going, because sometimes you get tired, don't you? Sometimes you get frustrated, even with the work that you're doing, when you're working on a campaign and people just can't get on board, right? And it seems like they're putting obstacles up in your place. And you always wish that you had some more time, right? Oh, if I had some more time to do this PowerPoint. If I had some more time to put this workshop together. And especially if I had some more time to sleep, right? It's always about time, right? And the significance about even the criminal justice system, right? You do the crime, you do the what? The time, right? But time will never equate with crime, will it? Right? Because their time and crime, little scale is unbalanced, right? Hence is why people get 25 years for a $10 piece of crack cocaine, right? That doesn't seem balanced, does it? Right? And, we always get frustrated about how much time we have, right? And when we're going to have more time. But the time is now. The time is now to get us together, to get our situations correct, so no matter what they do, they cannot dismantle us. No matter how hard they come in our communities with their police uniforms, with their stun guns, with their lethal guns, they cannot kill us. And you want to know why they can't kill us? Because the spirit lives beyond us. No matter what they do, they will not defeat what we're trying to bring here. Community Justice Network for Youth. You know what? I think it's bigger than that, right? Because it's the Community Justice Network for the future is where we at with this situation. And for all the young people who are sitting in the room right now, when I started out at PNP, I was 20 years old. I had just got out of jail. I was still gang banging in the streets, 5-star General Paru Bloods, right? And I still believe in blood. I still believe in brotherly love overrides oppression and destruction, and I stand by that. But things have changed. Now we got our young brothers and sisters banging on each other in the streets, right? We got people banging on each other who are Crips, people banging on each other who are Bloods, and for territories that they will never own, right? They're banging on blocks that they will never own. They're banging on each other, and they brown just like each other because that's what they want us to do, right? But it's important for us to understand that this situation lives beyond you. This situation is for the future, not just of our young people, but the future of society. Because JB said it yesterday, this cannot be sustained. What they have done cannot be sustained. And as the human race, what they don't understand is that as much as they lock this up, they're locking up themselves. These people in their own prison of ignorance, right? So apparently I got a little under 15 minutes to keep it talking. So the last thing I want to talk about is the love part. When I started doing this work, I was angry as fuck. I was angry. I was very angry, and in many ways, I kind of am. I'm still angry, you know? But, you know, after 10 years of doing this work, and I went through a lot. Because, you know, sometimes I just didn't get along with the head people sitting in the room with their processes and whatnot. I'm like, you know, we got to get it in now. People are dying now, and you want to talk about a fucking PowerPoint. I ain't got time for that shit. What we doing right now? You know what I'm saying? Can we get in the streets? How long we going to sit behind this laptop? So, but, you know, after doing this, you know, a few years later, I ended up having 2 kids. I got 2 kids now. I got a 6-year-old going on 30. And a 4-year-old going on 50. And I brought my 6-year-old with me, and I left my 4-year-old at home because he'd have tore this whole hotel room up. But I've never been one to admit that sometimes I'm afraid. I've never been one to cry. I don't cry easy. Even when my grandmother passed away, it was hard for me to shed a tear. I don't know why, but that's what it was. And I'm afraid. I'm going to admit it to y'all. I'm afraid for my kids. I'm afraid for when they go to school. I'm afraid for when they get 13. I'm afraid. And when I feel that fear creeping up in my chest, in my heart, in my soul, my spirit, I have to sit back and know that what I'm doing, what I'm fighting for, what everybody's fighting for in this room, is not a dream. You know what I'm saying? I'm not having no dreams, right? I'm having visions of the future. That's what I'm having, visions of the future. So I have to take that fear and put it in my pocket and do all I can to equip him with the tools that he needs to navigate this world that's full of hate, that's full of people behind prison walls, but also a world that's full of love, that's full of kindness. And I have to keep that balance. And for the young people who are just stepping up into this situation, it's hard. Believe you me, it's hard. There's going to be some things that you're not going to necessarily agree with. There's going to be some things that you're not necessarily going to want to do. But understand that everything comes in time. If you put the time and effort into taking care of your problems and fighting for justice, justice will be served. I guarantee you that. I put that on my name. Some people say slow justice is no justice, right? And that's true in many ways when you're sitting behind bars waiting for a fucking appeal, right? But you know what? The same time as slow justice is no justice, then I charge you with speeding that shit up. If it's slow, then speed it up. Let's make it happen, right? So the last thing I want to share with you is my own personal experiences. Like I said, I came out of jail when I was 20. I was doing this gangbanging stuff, and you know, the biggest thing for me when I came out, I met a lot of people who was like, "Oh, Chino, you so smart. You should go to school, and Chino, you know, you've been doing this for a while. You should get the degrees to back up what you do, and blah, 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 Chino," and always pushing me into this academic field. And it's true, right? You know, I should go back to school. I should get some credentials, but that's not what makes you a good person, right? It's my human contact with each other. The fact that I could sit in a room with many different peoples and hear different opinions and not want to stab you in your neck. I'm being real. The fact that, you know, I could be in certain situations where I don't necessarily agree, and I'm not going to be mad, aggressive, and Debo my way through this. Unless we're in a city council meeting, then I'm Deboing every time. But it's our personal interaction with each other. That's what makes you a good person, not necessarily all the letters that file behind your name, PhD and whatnot, right? Not necessarily all the amount of money that you have in your bank account, even though you know that it is nice, right? Because it sucks being broke. But it's true. And that's one thing that we have to learn to incorporate into our fields, into our networks, is that personal development, that trust, that honesty, that respect that we should have with one another. The fact that I feel like I can leave my wallet on the table and not have to look at it twice in this room. And it's not because people ain't hungry in this room, because I know people are hungry in this room. Not just because breakfast wasn't all of that, but because your situations at home might not be where you want them to be. I know people have sacrificed probably their monthly food budget to come down here. I know people took money, out of their whole 2-week situation just to get gas in their car with these tolls to come down here. I'm speaking from personal experience. And that's important. And because you did that, because you felt like it was a need for you to be here. And it is a need for you to be here. It's a need for us to spread this message and take it to where we need to take it. In terms of we're not going to stand for them locking up our people. We're not going to stand for them putting things in place that keep us divided. We're not going to stand for them oppressing us, right? Now, KJ, who's my mentor, used to always talk about, pedagogy of the oppressed, right? And it's deep. KJ's a deep person, right? And I'm deep too, so kind of, we jive together. But, and one thing she used to say to me is, sometimes you got to liberate your oppressor. I struggle with that. I don't know how I'm going to liberate somebody that got their foot on my neck. I don't know how that's going to happen. But what I do know for sure, what you have to do, is that we talk about starving the beast, right? We talk about the beast being like a drug-addicted person, right? And how that person would do anything to get them drugs, right? So what I suggest we do is that we create a beast of our own, right? And this beast is going to be ferocious. You want to know why? Let me tell you why. Because this beast is not going to sit and argue and bicker about you being gay. This beast is not going to argue and bicker about who's transgender, who's not. This beast is not going to argue and bicker about who's black, who's white, who's poor, who's got college degrees and whatnot. This beast is going to be a hungry beast. And this beast is going to gobble up oppression everywhere it finds it, right? This beast is going to snatch these children out of the jaws of this other beast and put them into the arms of love. And that's what we're going to create here. That's what CJNY is about, right? It's creating a beast that's more ferocious than the one that we're going up against. A beast that has more teeth, more arms, more tentacles. A beast with a third eye that can see their lies and is sneaky and their plans as they're sitting around a table with cigars and brandy devising it, right? Because that's what they do, because, we don't get to make laws. Those get made for us, right? But that's okay, though, because this beast that we're creating is going to gobble up them laws, too, right? And it's important for every one of you sitting here right now to struggle with it. And it's going to get hard. Sometimes you're going to say, you know what, fuck this organization, I quit. That's it, I'm done, I quit. I've been there myself, right? And as I'm walking out the door, I turn around, because I don't mean that shit, I'm just mad. You know what I'm saying? I'm just mad. You know what I'm saying? So, it's, as somebody who's 30 years old now, who's been doing this for 10 years for the younger cats in the room, and I'm speaking specifically for them, it's a long road ahead, right? And sometimes, you got to make the road by walking. And sometimes, there's not going to be no road, and you're going to have to build a bridge. And sometimes that bridge is going to be your back. And that's okay. That's all right. Because what we're doing, as long as you got truth and justice on your side, can nothing stand in your way. And I believe that. And if we truly, truly, really feel like, if everybody agree here that the children are the future? Can we agree to that? Yeah? All right, if you can agree to that, then we got to make sure they're able to hold it, because you can't hold it if their hands are cuffed behind their back. Thank you.
Chino Hardin. Show Chino some love.